Hello, quantum community. It's Jessica here. I was really drawn to do a new moon forecast for you guys and an update and an energy update. It's a really big catalyst moment in time for us right now. And First, I want to thank everybody who has moved over to the Quantum Life Teeka group. We're starting to get a really good, solid class with a lot of awesome interaction, and it's been phenomenal. And I'll talk a little bit about that towards the end. But let's get into it because I know you're waiting for this. So, new moon in Virgo, but it is also a huge moment in time as we move to September 23rd. I'm sure that if you follow any Christian biblical stories at this point in time, you're hearing a lot about this revelation and, the end of times. And, the Christian community is all worried that in just a few days, poof, everybody's just going to leave and go to heaven or go to hell or whatever. And I really want to explain this time in history from a quantum perspective. I haven't even given my class this quantum perspective yet, because when you can understand how this ascension process actually works, that you realize that nothing really unfolds in reality the way that you hear the stories. When you read the Bible and it talks about all of this devastation, and if you look at what's going on the planet, it's been happening. It's been happening, and it's not a destruction, it's a rebirth process. And so that's really what I want to get into. First and foremost, Virgo represents organization and purification. So when you look at purification, let's look at it through very scientific awareness, because when we try to go through and look at this spiritually, it can make, however you perceive it, it can make this whole process seem very scary. And when I break it down scientifically, you're going to be like, oh, well, that just makes total sense. So let's look at it even from a biochemistry standpoint. When you're going through a detoxification, which is what the planet Earth is going through, she is detoxing, she is purging, she is going through her death of the 3D process. She is moving out of duality as we know it, and she is moving into more a unity process. And that takes a lot of time. So if you've ever detoxed your body, what do you do that for? The reason why you fast, number one, the reason why you start a fast is to stop the information coming into the body. So food is information, and water is information. All these things are information. So when you're dumping information into the body, it's constantly having to mix signals, and also what else is in the body. So there's also, an abundance of toxins in the body. And so the body's trying to make sense of all of this energy. And so a lot of times your nutritionist or your naturopath or chiropractor or healer will tell you, do a 3-day fast, because what that will do is it'll stop the information from coming in, and then your internal guidance system, your immune system, your body can start answering its own questions and giving its own information to itself. So that's the start of a detoxification program, when you take something negative away. So what you've noticed in your life right now and what's happening on Earth is you and Earth are going through a huge detoxification process. You're being stripped of a lot of your false securities, a lot of your old belief systems, a lot of your certainties, which means that you're finding yourself in a state of uncertainty. You're finding yourself in chaos. And if you were to look at a body that was going through detoxification, it would be all of this process. It would be nothing different than a body detoxing toxins. So that is what we're going through on a micro level. Earth is going through it on a macro level. We're going through it on the micro level. And anything that you've manifested over the last year has been part of your purging. Because if you've been following my work, you understand that we're moving into becoming. And if we're moving into the becoming phases, we've got to unbecome first. That means we've got to get rid of anything that no longer serves us. And that includes negative belief systems, relationships, false securities, false ideas, certainties that don't serve you, your higher purpose, false idols, false security on the planet. At this point in time, do you really even know when an earthquake is going to hit? So you don't have that certainty. And so you're in this place of really not wanting to commit, not wanting to make a move, feeling very unstable. And that's really where the body is when it's going through a detoxification. And that is really what my guides told me this morning was Virgo is the new moon in Virgo is the grand purification cycle. So why is this all happening? If you've been following Second Sundays for 2 years, I've been talking about the prophecy. And the prophecy is that anyone who literally incarnated here at this time is the second coming incognito. And I don't mean that in a Christian way. To me, the second coming is the Christ consciousness embodied. But we've all come in disguise at this time. We've come in the disguise of our autistic children, our empaths, our special needs, our pets, our indigos, our starseeds, our crystal children. We've come in all of these incognito forms that contain within us the same DNA of the prophets and the spiritual teachers of the past, the ascended masters. But we've come in millions, very incognito. So when they're talking about September 23rd being, the revelation, and I actually put a scientific map on the Quantum Life Teeka group right before I went live here, and it shows the star systems of the woman who's giving birth. What that symbolizes is the second coming will begin to rule the earth. And that's what I've been talking about, September 23rd, September 23rd, September 23rd. We have gone through a de-ascension and re-ascension process in this lifetime. You've gone all the way into the dark, and now you're moving all the way back into light. And this next month will be a process of almost like that newborn state of you having, you might have had your awakening in 2012 or whenever, but what you're experiencing now is so much more than that, because it's your heart chakra, it's your heart field, it's your ability to love unconditionally. But everything has to be removed away from the frequency that does not align with unconditional love. So anything you're harboring in your field, anything you're harboring in your life, anything that you're harboring in your mind, anything that you're harboring outside of you is going to basically go through a grand detoxification. And however that needs to occur in your reality, you will create that, which means however is going to be the fastest way for you to evolve into your role as a second coming, which is what you're here to do, is basically bring the information of the Christ consciousness, which scientifically is the crystalline energy of purity and unconditional love. So let's leave religion out of it. Let's leave spirituality out of it. Let's go all the way into science and look at it as basically the death of 3D. Now, I don't mean that's going to be the death of form, but it's going to be death of judgment. So your judgment day is going to begin on September 23rd, and you're going to be basically pushed into everything that you judge so that you can be made aware of what you're judging so that you can let that go. So it's going to be a little bit harder for us because we are the shepherds, we are the sheep herders, we are the ones with the front line that are working to be more aware and working to be more loving and working to see things in a different perspective. We just had a big earthquake in Mexico yesterday. We've got another hurricane in Puerto Rico. And if it's like everything that the prophecy dictates, it's like it's all happening, but it's not happening to destroy the planet. It's happening to give the planet the rebirth of the fifth dimension. And fifth dimension is less time and space, absence of judgment, unconditional love, and the ability to create very quickly, and the ability to manifest unconditional love through your heart chakra that can reach millions and millions and millions of people. So the new moon in Virgo is about you purifying and detoxing your energy field, your belief system, your relationships, your false securities, your ego. Some of us are having to get really humble right now and do things that we normally wouldn't want to do, that we didn't want to do as a light worker, and we're having to go back into 3D. I just taught a class about having to go back into 3D to clean up some areas of vibration and frequency that we're still out of alignment. Nothing can be out of alignment where we're going. You know, everybody wants utopia. Everyone wants a community of unconditional love. Everyone wants everyone to get along. Everyone wants everyone to love each other. Everyone wants the animals to be treated better. Everybody wants the food to be clean. But what are you willing to do to achieve that? That's what you're being asked to do. That's what the revelation is about. It's not about death to all the Christians and, you know, and it's about what are you going to do if you met God. You know, you woke up on September 23rd and the higher version of yourself, source energy, God as you see it, was sitting in front of you and said to you, what are you going to do with this life? And what are you willing to give up that no longer serves you? And what are you willing to take action on? And what are you willing to let go? And what are you willing to surrender? And how are you going to show up? That would be the sensation of what's happening on a grander surface on September 23rd. It's technically the birth cycle. It's the full integration. 5D is integrated. 3D is having the death experience, which is what the Bible was talking about. And therefore, it's scientifically and astrologically just the purification point. So, if you've been doing your work and surrendering and letting go and getting rid of false beliefs and showing up and having courage and being the light worker that you know you are, then what you're noticing this September is going to feel, it's going to feel brilliant. It's going to feel magical because life as you know it is going to begin to get magical. Everything that we've wanted as children, life to be magical, is going to start showing up for you as soon as you let go of everything that you're not. Now, if you want to take longer, because there is no time and space, you're holding a marker of time in your belief systems and in your mind. So your time and space doesn't necessarily mean the catalyst of September 23rd, which means that you can decide to have your September 23rd next September if you choose, because time is not linear and you're having your experience the way that you're having your experience. But if they were going to do a mathematical equation of how fast the ascension process was going to take and how many souls would awaken and how many souls would reawaken, and they did a collective blueprint in astrology saying September 23rd would be hitting a threshold. So hitting a threshold on the planet of enough light workers and enough of us that are ready to say, okay, I'm ready to live as the second coming. I'm ready to live as so-called like Jesus was, you know, and that would be, you know, I love having that saying. It's like whenever you're not sure what to do, say like, well, what would Jesus do in this moment? And or fill in the blank. Whoever is your ascended teacher, whoever is the prophet for you that kind of you know, helps you see things through the eyes of unconditional love. However, it's like, how would that version of you see that moment in time? And then your behavior needs to be impeccable. And that's why everything is getting so shaken up, because the world is not dying. It's going through its grand purification and detoxification. Everything's getting shook up. The best way to interrupt a pattern is to bring chaos. And I just taught a class in Teeka about the importance of breaking that pattern with chaos, and we called it the catalyst. So everyone is having all of these catalysts to help them interrupt patterns. You know, if you've been kind of going a certain way and living a certain life, and I will tell you that the thing that's being hit really hard for you right now is self-judgment. Anywhere that you're judging yourself, you're being tested. Like literally, your higher self is giving you a test and saying, okay, how are you going to show up? How are you going to show up with no money? How are you going to show up with this illness? How are you going to show up with this tragedy? How are you going to show up with nothing? How are you going to show up? Because it isn't really what's happening. It's how you react and how you perceive and how you judge the situation that makes or breaks your launching point. It's like, how quick do you want to detox? Do you want to go cold turkey? Or do you want to, you know, like metaphorically keep eating a little bit of junk food while you're going? Because literally judgment is equivalent to poison and it is equivalent to toxins. So what is judgment? Judgment is you deciding whether something is bad or good. And that is something that we can really touch on with this new moon energy, because we can decide what's happening on the earth as bad, or we can look at what's happening on the earth as good, or we can look at what's happening on the earth as just what is, which is a point of neutrality, where it has to happen in order to balance everything out. You know, the powers that be have controlled the planet through false light, which means they've led your slavery through false freedom. You know, you can buy the house of your dreams, but then you don't have enough money to travel the world, and you don't have enough money to educate yourself. You can educate yourself, but you'll be so in debt that you won't be able to live the life you want. You can see how the powers that be have always operated with false light. And they're very charming, and it's very much telling you that you're free. But United States represents a giant jail cell, because the people here are so addicted to stuff that they've enslaved and basically jailed themselves by renting a lifestyle. You know, most of the people in the United States rent a lifestyle. They have to go to the zoo to see animals. They can't go to a foreign country and look at an animal. They can watch documentaries happening all over the world on TV. This is all false freedom. In other places on the planet, they actually travel and do these things, and that's how they learn. And what does the United States represent? United States represents the melting pot of the entire planet, and everybody came here looking for what? Freedom. So this was very easy to manipulate. Everybody first and foremost in the frequency of fear, and then everybody looking for freedom but not having any idea of what that looks like. So that was falsely provided. And so all of this has to go away. And the powers that be can't control your belief systems if you're aware. They can't control your belief systems if you're not supporting their corporations. They can't own your behavior if you're in the present moment, being responsible for your own thoughts and feelings and beliefs. So if you're going through hell right now, my advice is keep going, okay? Because it's always darkest before the dawn. And this is the purification month. This is the month of the second coming finally integrating and saying, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to be of service. I'm ready to, no matter what's happening on the planet, I'm going to show up. I'm going to love myself. I'm not going to judge where I'm not perfect yet. And I'm going to do the best I can. And my flaws and my imperfections are going to be the compassion that people feel for me in order for me to lead the population, because perfectionism doesn't exist. Okay? So it's a very crucial time for us all, especially the light workers. I'm going to go over in the Quantum Life Teeka group and do a little bit more advanced training on the astrology of this and go over some other key points. But I wanted to make sure that you guys had this information, because there's a lot of astrology out there right now about new moon in Virgo, and new moons are always about setting intentions, about a rebirthing process, about manifestation, and really kind of owning who it is that you choose to be. So from the coordinates and everything that I look at with numerology, astrology, what I'm getting from my guidance and what I'm feeling collectively is that if you are really owning your journey right now, September and October and November are going to be really magical for you. If for some reason you're really holding on to that self-judgment or that fear, or the grief of what's happening, then it's okay, because it takes as long as it takes. And you may need to go through more tests and more lessons and more opportunities for you to get the courage and let go of the things that you need to let go of and do the things that you need to do. Nina, that would be great if you hopped on Quantum Life Tribe and maybe did a video about that. That's awesome. So, and you guys all have some great knowledge and great things to share. So that's what Quantum Life Tribe is all about. It's about your sharing community for you to get on and teach. I'm 100% in support of you teaching anything from a higher perspective. No fear-based teachings, okay? They don't exist. Fear-based teachings don't exist in quantum in quantum life at all. It's all about understanding and making sense of things scientifically. Scientifically is like, I can touch it. Okay, God is real here. When you're in spirituality, it's like, okay, I have to go on faith. I have to like get down and say, do I believe that? And we all have some collective negative belief systems when it comes to religion. And so I'm not discussing religion at this time, but what I'm saying is everything that was written is literally happening, but it's happening for us and it's happening through us. It's not happening to us. So what can you purify this month? What can you let go of? What new securities and safeties can you create that you generate within through thoughts, beliefs, ideas? What creative abilities can you surface? I'm also going to do a video in Quantum Life Tribe about why you should be charging for your gifts and the metaphysical quantum mathematical equations of what happens when you do not charge or you do not barter for your work, okay? Because what happens is it's a value point. And when you don't honor yourself and honor your energy and give and receive, then what happens is you lose your ability to manifest abundance. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute when I go over there. So there's a ton of value over there. Another announcement that I wanted to make is that I have 2 years of like over 900 hours of really deep teachings of my Teeka Transcendence International Consciousness Academy hidden away in my archive that only my year-long students have access to. It's really some phenomenal information, and let me tell you why. The reason why is because I don't teach in a linear fashion. I teach in the moment, which means that as I teach in the moment, I'm not teaching on an outline like, okay, first we learn this, then we learn this, then we learn this. Basically how I teach is I sit down in the chair, I tap into collective consciousness, I tap into the seed families of light, and then I deliver the message. So because time doesn't exist, and so many of you guys are going through different awakenings right now, there might be information from last year that you totally need right now. If you're in Teeka and you're feeling like everything's a little bit over your head, okay? Because I'm in entanglement, I'm in parallel realities, I'm like going deep into quantum theory right now. And if you're feeling like, okay, this is all sort of new to me, you might need a year ago's transmissions that are like completely like perfect for your now moment, because I don't teach in that linear fashion. So you could go and look at a year ago's, access to manifestation workshop and say, okay, but this is what I need now. Like the class you taught last Thursday was way over my head. So what I've decided to do is, because I noticed the number one thing that we're having trouble with right now, and we've never had trouble with this in our academies, is people's level to commit. And here's why. Commitment is at an all-time low right now because of the level of uncertainty in our lives. We don't have certainty. We don't have job security. We don't have earth security. We don't have family security. We don't have relationship security. We can't trust our bodies a lot of the times right now. So when commitment, which is a wound, gets activated, what we've noticed is when we're looking at our scientific levels of who's joining and who's staying and who's going, is people are wanting I just want to do this for a month because I can't commit. So what I decided to do is make everything that I've done for the last basically 3 years a la carte. So right now, Amber spent all day yesterday and today taking all of my modules out of a 900 hours of classes and putting them to an a la carte forum or an ability to find them. So right now, if you go to jessicaalstrom.com and you look under Teeka, you'll actually see the modules a la carte. So you can just purchase little blocks instead of having to purchase the whole year, which what I'm noticing is collectively like everybody's ability to commit is like crap right now. So, but there might be data, there might be information, there might be frequencies that you need in certain modules. And so that was a kind of an idea that I had for people to just be able to kind of like pick and choose a la carte what they want to sample, especially if you're not ready for my accelerated class over in the Quantum Life Teeka group. You will need to understand your toolbox. Now, this isn't a sales pitch because I could care less. Like, I'm going to do this for free forever for the rest of my life because it's why I'm on the planet. But making sense of your toolbox, making sense of your intuitive abilities, making sense of how you manifest 3D versus 5D, how you understand that you are particles that turn into a wave that creates reality, how you can jump from parallel realities to have the reality of your choosing versus the reality that you're creating, becoming more aware, accessing your consciousness, utilizing the healing arts that you have within you, unlocking your shamanic traits, unlocking your starseed traits, unlocking all of these things. You know how to do them, and you kind of bump into learning. But for me, the reason why I'm doing this is because everything that I've channeled is everything that I've learned along the way, and everything that I've put into my reality to create my version of heaven on earth. It's not always easy, but there's never a day that goes by when I don't understand why it's happening. Doesn't mean I don't go through challenges, but there's never a single day that goes by where I don't understand why it's happening. I know exactly what's happening. I know exactly why it's happening. I know exactly why it's occurring. And so it always puts me in a position of power. When you don't understand why things are happening, it puts you into that victim frequency. So I'm just going to leave you guys with that, and remind you that this is your opportunity, because when planetary alignment shows up the way it does, it's helping push you along. It's like mom. It's like, come on, you can walk, you can walk. Okay, now it's time to purify. Okay, now it's time to create. And we can utilize this energy to go as fast or slow as we want. Just like there's some kids that walk at 9 months, there's other kids that don't walk until 2. You're allowed to be the 9-month-old or the 2-year-old. It doesn't matter how slow you go. It doesn't matter how many lessons you have to go through. But if you're like me, I'm really done suffering. And I went really fast in my ascension process, and then I hit a wall at the beginning of this year, and it was almost like I had to relearn everything that I've learned over the past 5 years. And I'm finally getting my sea legs back, and I'm finally like getting into the flow. The manifestation process is really accelerating, and it's just nice to have a guide. It's nice to have access to higher dimensional energy and information, and that's why Teeka is here. So I wanted to let you guys know that specifically what I would recommend right now for the time and space is really mastering manifestation. And I don't care how many books you read, and I don't care how many workshops you've read. There are 7 steps to manifestation that are in quantum probabilities. And if you're not doing it exactly that way, what you're going to notice is that you're getting a mishmash of, you're manifesting good and you're manifesting bad simultaneously. And that is because you are both dark and light, and conscious and subconscious, and law of attraction is responding to both of them. Happy birthday! I felt super sad and just low ever since the eclipse. Yes, I don't want to suffer anymore. So sadness is you tapping into the collective grief. So what I would like you to do is just honor that grief and surrender it, and really self-nurture. Exhaustion as an all-time high. As empaths, we're feeling everybody's chaos. We're feeling everybody's uncertainty. We're feeling everybody's loss. And it's very important that you get solitude, you get rest, you get music, you get nature, you get essential oils, you get flower essences. You get things in your body that do not alter their frequency with chaos on the planet. So everything I just mentioned does not alter its frequency because of what's going on, because of what is. So if you can be around nature and music and essential oils and positive people, you're going to be able to keep your vibration high and not get sucked and swept away. So I would say really look at the a la carte menu and dive into any of the modalities for healing, like time travel, or any of the information about manifesting, or if you want to go fast, parallel realities. Because to me, if you understand parallel realities, you can shift and jump right out of here, but you've got to do it in a specific way, which means there's codes and there's access points and there's frequencies, which means you have to be in alignment with the frequencies of the parallel reality that you want to embody and align in order to live that life. Okay? So I also want to do this thing where I do a, when I do an energy update, I want to leave you guys with a question, and I want you to kind of comment. I want you to get on YouTube and comment. I want you to share, just because it gets our information out there. But my question for you is, do you know the difference between what is happening out here and what is happening in here? Do you have discernment on the pain you're feeling outside of you and the pain that you're feeling inside of you? Because that is what I would ask for you to master. If you're feeling the loss of what's happening in Puerto Rico and you're taking that personally, how is that serving you? So that's my question, is how are you discerning the energy outside of you versus the energy inside of you? So I'll leave you with that. It's a very, very, very exciting time. I know it doesn't look like that, circumstances, but chaos has got to occur in order to create. If things are going to be rebuilt, we have to go through a grand purification, a grand detoxification, and that means that you on a micro level are also having to shed and let go and give up things that don't serve you, because everything you've ever really wanted is literally coming, because you will be rewarded for all of your hard work. You will be able to experience the magic that you know is real and can exist. So, all right, my shirt this is my favorite shirt. It's super comfortable, and it says the universe is your sugar daddy. And I used to joke about that the first year of Teeka, because one of the first things that when I was channeling, and a lot of you say to yourself, I just can't trust the universe to bring me what I want. Well, technically, if everything is yin and yang and father and mother, right? So the sun is technically considered father and moon is mother. Well, to me, God represents, the ideology of God represents whether you get the life you want or you don't. So the universe is my sugar daddy is almost like I have faith in the ability that I am my creator, and it's just kind of fun. So, and you can find our apparel, and you can create your own styles. This is just kind of a loose, but you can do it in a tank top, sweatshirt, and there's all different kinds of stuff. And I mean, we don't make a ton of money, but it all is going to fund books and research materials and get us to a place where we can literally share our life's work with everybody. So that's what we're utilizing that for. So thank you guys all for being here. I'm going to jump over into the Quantum Life Teeka group and go over this a little bit more. I've also got some more questions and answers to do in there. And, make sure you check out the a la carte that Amber has created in Jessica Alstrom. She'll probably put some notes in this recording. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love your comments, and I'd love you to answer that question. How are you in discerning whether you're able to discern whether something's happening outside of you or inside of you? Okay? Have an awesome night and enjoy this month, you guys. You deserve it.